Hi, sweeties. It is really high time people start giving Black people attention or listening ear each time they talk about their experiences with Black people or, I mean, with racist allies, right? You all remember this Madeleine Peterson during before election. She actually came out to pew some anti-Black rhetoric, right? Also calling Kamala Harris so many names and all that, which Black people did not find funny, called her out, and eventually like the whole thing died off because like it was going back and forth and the rest of it. Some people did not find anything wrong with what she said. A lot of people faulted her and said that she should never come out to say something like that about Black people. Now she works with a Black woman, or there is a Black woman that works with her, who has been calling her out. They've been going back and forth, calling her out on the anti-Blackness going on in the work environment and all that, which she has also called her attention to. But she is not doing anything about it because that is also who she is. And her friends also come to the workplace and say some not great things about Black people and also other people of color. And the young lady also took to the social media to call her out and like, it was more like a written note telling her that I have called you out several, or I have like, written you several times to report all this to you and you never said anything. And she went on social media she made videos, 40 minutes long and other videos she made trying to like, and I don't know why she was trying to explain in 40 minutes and ended up deleting all the videos. But some people really watched a little bit of the videos and they are also analyzing what happened. One thing I will tell you is that when a Black person says something about some certain people, they are not lying. Let's get into this.
White leftists, it's time for you to bury your darlings and never meet your heroes. Madeline Pendleton will never beat the racism allegations for one reason. They will never be introspective or self-reflective enough to understand that what they did was racist. They will never understand how or why it's wrong. And because they don't understand how or why it's wrong, they will never admit that it's wrong. And because they never admit that it's wrong, they will never make amends to the community that they harmed. This is a pattern now. We see that Madeline Pendleton loves to use Black bodies in order to shield themselves from shame on the internet. That is what is happening, and that in and of itself is a racist act to do. You got called out by an employee and you trotted out a different Black employee to go, oh, I can't be racist. Look, I hired this other darkie. Dude, what are you fucking doing? And the fact that you did that, thought that that was the right thing, sneaky deleted all those fucking videos, and then just are making content as if you fucking never did any of that, is exactly all the evidence I need to know that you did absolutely zero, a negative amount of introspection or self-reflection in this moment. And white leftists, you need to let people like this fucking go. I'm not saying that her business should fail. I'm not saying that anything negative should happen to her. She should get hurt or anything like that. But she also doesn't have to be a fucking champion for the movement. You guys don't have to listen to her as a fucking person that is giving advice. She doesn't need to be a fucking leader. She's wrong a shit ton and she's racist. Like, why the fuck are you guys propping up these fucking racist white people that just say all the correct socialist things? Fucking stop.
I once made a post about Madeline Pendleton, and everyone told me I was off base for saying that she doesn't listen to Black and brown creators. Like, I was absolutely crucified. But it turns out I wasn't entirely wrong. I did end up taking down the post, though, because I could not deal with that amount of hate. But recently, Baby Lungs, an ex-employee of Madeline Pendleton at Tunnel Vision, has shared her experience of what it's like being not only a woman of color, but a Black woman working under Madeline. I'll tag her in the caption so you guys can see the posts themselves, but I'm going to give you guys a basic summary of what she said. So first, she talks about the office culture, and she said it was very uncomfortable, high stress, very catty, and mostly racist. And a lot of the racist comments and microaggressions were through Madeline's friends, her white friends, which a lot of them were her employees and friends. And when they would talk about, here, X person did this, X person did that, Madeline said that they felt too guilty to fire these people who had all these racist comments to make, and even said that if they were to fire those employees, they would offer them at least some sort of severance package because they deserve it. Madeline also demanded that they work harder and faster, And when Baby Lungs said, "This is giving Shein," everyone pulled out a dictionary definition of what fast fashion was. They didn't take her advice. They didn't say, "Oh, maybe you're right." They told her, "Here is where you're wrong, and here's the proof." Apparently, also, a lot of the work models that Madeline had were stolen from people of color. And the last person that ended up quitting or leaving was because they were uncomfortable with the racist comments. Madeline said work from home. They couldn't even make the accommodations to make the place safer. I also took a look at another post that she posted, Baby Lungs, and it was screenshots of Madeline, of her calling Madeline out. Every single time Baby Lungs called Madeline out, Madeline would say, "Oh, I don't really remember that. Sorry. Maybe if I did, I'd hold myself accountable." I can't hold myself accountable if I don't remember. I'm sorry you feel that way, though. And she says she felt Mexican. She feels Mexican because she grew up with Mexicans. Girl, they really weren't lying when they said the most dangerous thing to people of color is the white woman.
I want to know if there's ever been a time in the history of ever where an employee can come forward and say, hey, I felt like there might be some sort of racial happenings going on. I feel like I was a little bit discriminated against. This actually, no, actually, this feels kind of racist and like a problem. And then the employer just starts to go live on TikTok after posting a 40-minute long video that basically was just them sitting with a different person of color that they work with. And that person of color had a list of every reason that they disagreed with the original poster and every reason why they enjoyed working at that company as a person of color. Has that ever worked in the history of ever? Like, at what point does Madeline just need to get a PR team? Because this whole year, I feel like it's just been one thing after another where they're just kind of low-key kind of crashing out. I like, for instance, like on the most recent video, the 40-minute long video, almost immediately someone commented like, hey, yeah, this feels weird. I kind of believe Baby Lungs. Like, something's not adding up here. And immediately Madeline just went to, well, my video is 40 minutes long and you commented this a minute later, so I don't think you actually watched the video. Yeah, of course they didn't watch the video. It's a 40-minute long video that you uploaded on TikTok. These people struggle to finish a 2-minute long video. Like, I'm cutting it off here because they're not going to watch more than this. Know your audience if you're going to try to defend it. Like, what? If there's ever been a time in the history of ever where an employee can come forward and...
I want to know if there's ever a time in the history of whenever, if a black person comes forward saying that they've experienced racism, that people will just listen to them. And by those people, I mean white people.
The fact that you think everybody's problem with Madeline Pendleton is just because they didn't like Kamala tells me that you did not listen to a single fucking BIPOC creator that entire time. There were tons of BIPOC creators, specifically black creators, that were getting on the internet and explaining in extreme detail, with an extreme amount of nuance and an extreme amount of care, exactly what had happened, exactly what was said, exactly what was done, exactly what the fallout was, and exactly how it was harmful to the black community. And you did not listen to a single one of them, and quite frankly, neither did Madeline. Madeline did not listen to a single one of them. They went, la, 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 I can't hear you, I can't see you, and then turned around and compared themselves to a black civil rights leader and started shitting on Angela Davis for fun. And then calling it educational. Like, what are you talking about? You getting in my comment section and dick riding Madeline Pendleton, the known tanky, with a long-standing history of anti-blackness and racism? Because this is not the first time this has happened. It's not the second time this has happened. This is, God, the fucking 10th time this has happened. They keep getting called out for the same issues, and you keep pretending like it's not happening. That's insane. And that's exactly the problem with this community. You keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and then you wonder why you can't build a community. It's because you're trying to build a community on the basis of anti-blackness and racism. What the fuck? To the surprise of absolutely nobody except maybe the white internet leftist, Madeline Pendleton has been exposed for being racist again. In case you missed it, A former employee of theirs has come forward about what it was like to work as a black person surrounded by these white leftists. And the long story short is a ton of microaggressions, a completely unsafe work environment, and a complete and utter lack of accountability from Madeline and all of the other white people that work there. And the response from Madeline's company was to post this video. And if you go watch it, it feels very much like, oh, we can't be racist. We hire other black people. Might I add, this is part 1. So this is not part of a series that they had been doing. This is the first time that they had ever done this. This is absolutely a response video. This is not the first time Madeline Pendleton has been called out for anti-blackness and white supremacy. In fact, they were called out during the election season, and instead of holding themselves accountable at all, they just doubled and tripled down on it, and then ended up comparing themselves to prominent black civil rights leaders. So, this is par for the course. It is so disappointing because the internet offers such a great opportunity to be able to reach people that you would never normally be able to reach. But because the white internet leftist community has been just overrun with white supremacy for so long, it has become fundamentally impossible to do any community building. I've said it once. I said it twice. I've actually said it numerous times. This is the exact white supremacist mindset and white supremacist ideology that will make it impossible to move forward and have any kind of real substantial change in this country, because no amount of critiquing power is ever going to overthrow a system that your actions continue to support.
I just want to share some thoughts about Madeline Pendleton, and I'm just going to share them starting out this conversation by saying I've been, way less on TikTok since the last time I spoke about her. And I don't really know all the specifics of what the conversations are right now. I know that people are still talking about her apparently being racist, right? Here's the thing, you guys. One of the thoughts I've been having recently is there's some shit that, I will always see before everyone else does as a black trans woman. And I hate saying as a black trans woman because I know that, a lot of the anti-identity politic leftists on here, all they think when I say that is that, I'm just relying so much on identity and I'm just, muddying all these conversations up by identity. But, when you're ostracized, when you're marginalized, when you exist outside of certain standards, when people look at you and other you, when people sideline you, when you are very aware of the fact that people expect for you to repackage yourself and to appease to them and to appeal to them, when you're aware of your status as an other on multiple levels, right? I just think it's a little bit easier to see people for who they are. Some of the comments that I've seen are I can't defend her anymore because some of the people who defended her in previous incidents, are now kind of starting to see it. And the part of me that has healed with this election is the part of me that I think has always sort of struggled with this idea that maybe I just need to explain it a different way. Maybe I just need to see it better. The frustration that I've historically had with people not understanding where I'm coming from, which I now kind of understand is definitely a trauma response. But, I've spent a lot of my life trying to explain certain things that I see to people and then had them deny that those experiences and observations were true only for things to later down the line prove themselves to be true. My last video that I made on my YouTube channel is about Jubilee. And something I've been thinking a lot about is, because I've been online for a really long time, having these conversations for a really long time, all of the debates that we had way back when in the mid 2000s, early 2010s about platforming white supremacists, right? About giving people leeway. A lot of what we said in the past was, hey, if we give these people a chance to have a platform that allows them to reach a bunch of people, if we sit down across from them on these debates, giving the impression that their positions are just as valid, it may end up spreading their ideology, reaching a large group of people who will indeed end up engaging in white nationalist shit while also not recognizing that they are, because that's a really big part of white nationalism spreading, is like the rebranding of it. The, oh, we're not white nationalists, we're something else, right? That's kind of what you get with Christian nationalism too. It's just white nationalism, but it's like in another form, right? And with Madeline, it's like, even if I agree with a lot of the things that she says, even if I agree with her feelings about Kamala Harris, even if I agree with so many other things, right? There were just ways that she interacted with people that gave me anti-black vibes, right? And I feel like whatever's going on, because the very bare bones of what I understand is that like she's being accused of being racist against a black woman. Like it's one of those things where it's like, I just see it and I guess y'all really won't. And I know that there are going to be other black people who don't see it, right? But like I see it, and you know, I always hold that because we all come up in this society where we are all kind of encouraged to have these shitty beliefs. Listen, I was raised in a conservative area. I've had and still have a lot of shitty beliefs that I'm unpacking. I tend to have a degree of, I don't know, like I give leeway to people, because I say to myself, like, just because they feel that way now doesn't mean they're always going to be there. Just because you know, they don't see this doesn't mean that they're necessarily a bad person. We all have blind spots. So we have these conversations. And you know what I always do when we try to bring these conversations to people with good faith, and, you know, I sort of wait to see how they respond. And it was like seeing the way that Madeline responded to a lot of that stuff. Yeah, like, okay, that really didn't make it. I didn't feel differently. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, okay, I'm probably right about this. And I made a bunch of videos about it, and a lot of those videos are privated now. It is what it is, whatever. But long story short, the shit that some of y'all are just now seeing is the same shit that we were talking about all those months ago. Even if you agreed with her, there were black folks on here who saw her content, engaged with it, listened to what she was saying, heard how she was interacting with black women, heard how she was speaking about a black woman, especially in the context of, you know, fucking Donald goddamn Trump and like all of the other things happening in our country. And it was like, okay, I see this for what it is. I think you can say so many things about Kamala Harris that are completely accurate and completely true, but it still stands that a lot of folks have anti-blackness. And here's the thing, you guys, I've had so many conversations like this, so many conversations where I've specifically called out like large leftist creators for some of their bigotry. And frankly, none of them have ever really beat the allegations. I'm not going to go down the line of like who I've called out, but like most of those people, they just were the things I said that they were. They just were misogynistic. They just were transphobic. They just were racist. And a lot of them in the coming years just ended up leaning more heavily into that. Some of you guys will remember the early days of me calling out Ariel Scarcella, who for me has never been a leftist, but there's a lot of time during that when people, you know, in the earlier days were like, oh no, she's not transphobic. Same with J.K. Rowling, right? Like I made videos forever ago about J.K. Rowling, right? And the thing is, I think really what I'm connecting with here is, I think because of my positioning in our society, I'm super aware of how those little teeny tiny things, those little teeny tiny things can turn into really, really big things, right? So it might just seem like, oh, I'm just criticizing Kamala Harris or whatever. But like there's tones within the way that you're doing that yeah, maybe you could say aren't necessarily anti-black, but then you kind of recognize that these patterns repeat quite frequently when you're engaging with a black creator, right? Like so many of the leftists that I've called out are people who have a history of specifically engaging with black women creators a very particular way. And we have all of this evidence of them interacting with white creators to sort of compare and contrast. And we notice that there's a pattern in the way that they typically respond to black women who are creating content that, you know, is lightly critical of them. So I guess basically the way I'm feeling right now is there's a part of me that's just going to sit back and like let y'all have these revelations for yourself, because I'm kind of tired of drawing attention to them. And then having this expectation that because somebody labels themselves a leftist, that like, oh, and they're gonna totally get it. They're gonna totally be on the side of decency, and they're in totally like I had a lot of idealistic feelings about what I thought things were when people claim certain politics. And with time, you recognize, okay, no, people here are just as bigoted as people over there, right? They just get to say that they're not because they have a certain label, right? Do you see the connection to what I was saying before? It's the same shit, right? And I just feel personally like it's time for me to sleep and not be as aware. Because it makes me feel crazy sometimes to like see these things in people, point them out, and then have everyone be like, oh no, you're just XYZ. It's something other than what it is. So good luck with that. That's I think all I got to say.
So this is all I got from this video. And you all remember before the election, Madeline came out to say so many things about Kamala Harris and Black women, and she was also telling people not to support Kamala Harris because she's pro-G-side, according to her. And she was also pushing being pro-Palestine and all that. Now, at some point, Black people started calling her out on her anti because some of the content she makes are anti-Black, right? Black people did not find it funny. And to my great surprise, why some Black people were also calling her out. There were also Black people coming out to defend her, saying that they did not see anything anti-Black about her, and which really caused a lot of problems. You all remember some month ago, before the election, I probably made about 4 videos on her, right? But now it happened that she works with also, there is a Black person, a Black woman that works with her, right? And the woman has called her out. The young lady has called her out about how they got the environment and how anti-Black she is and how racist she is towards her and her friends too, and how stressed out. I mean, it is not just a conducive place. And let me tell you something. For somebody that has been on this preaching, she is doing the work. She's Black ally and all that. But this is also a very good thing that I'm sure those people that were able to share some of her videos back then would just hide in shame, because it is absolutely glaring and obvious that Black people were not lying when they said what they said. And most of the videos I brought here back then also show nothing but her being racist towards Black people, right? And how, I don't know, I usually have this, I don't know, I am kind of somehow, I like to call things out the way they are. No matter how I try to paint them, I will tell you this is actually not okay. And then probably if you all provoke me, especially the people that are, I definitely will face you, right? So when I called her out, it happened that a lot of people also know her in the comment section, and they were not also having it. So many people did so many videos about it, saying that if you are not seeing through medicine, you are a liar. And I saw through her lenses that she is nothing but a racist, right? Now, it is amazing how white people and some other people do not think that Black people have an opinion, especially when it comes to races. When Black people are telling them about their experiences, they do not take it seriously because they feel like, why do we have to take you people serious, right? And then in the end, it comes back to the same thing. I have checked both, there is also another woman of color that is, I think she works with her too. She is also calling her out. Medicine made a video concerning how many, I think 40-something minutes video, trying to explain what happened between her and the Black women, right? Black lady. And she ended up she deleted the videos. And I didn't say the video before she deleted it, but some people saw it. The young man that spoke, I guess he saw the video too, like, because he was also like, analyzed a little bit of it. Now, let me tell you something. It's, I mean, like, a racist can hide a little bit, especially when they are trying to be allied to Black people or probably trying to get something out of it. They might hide it a little bit, right? But as time goes on, if you are smart, you definitely will say it's sometimes they don't know how to hide it because that is who they are. That is what they have known how to do best, right? So sometimes they act without knowing they are doing it. So she has been doing what she is doing, and she knows what she is doing, that she is absolutely being anti-Black, right? The Black young lady showed, I am going to probably drop her handle so anybody can go there. She did not put video, but she did a write-up talking about how probably she deleted the video she did, talking about how she has also been reporting the racist and all that going on and the rest of it, but she never do anything to it because she also is nothing different from her friends. Right? So how do you come online to preach what you are not? That is the problem I usually have with them. Like, you see them trying to be all nice, but then you check their record, you find that their record is also as dirty as anything. Man, I am done with allies for a long time. This is not the, I have been saying it. I am done with allies. If Black people know what is good for them, you are your own allies. And I've been saying it, you all should stop focusing, Black people should stop focusing on all these people that say that they are content creators and they speak on Black issues and all that. No, let's make Black content creators our role models, or people will look forward to seeing their videos instead of like giving a lot of our attentions to other people. And in the end, we get disappointed and heartbroken, right? But for sure, I know pretty well that a lot of people know that Madotin hasn't really been anything better than, it has always been what she says she is or how she exhibits, and how Black people caught that on easily. For those that did not catch on time, I hope you all will see through the whole thing going on. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.